The 2004 hurricane season brought a variety of storms across the state of Florida, and with each storm, some distinct lessons. In this video, we will go storm by storm, looking in depth at what each one taught us. Hurricane Charley showed us how different a small, compact, and fast-moving storm can be with regards to impacts compared to those from an average hurricane. The compact and fast-moving nature of Charley brought a lower than normal storm surge along the southwest Florida coast and allowed the major hurricane strength winds to continue well inland from the coast, with Charley maintaining hurricane strength during its entire crossing of the Florida Peninsula. This storm sparked the idea of what would eventually become the extreme wind warning. This warning notifies an area to shelter within shelter to survive the most extreme winds in the eye wall of a major hurricane. Charley also taught how small shifts in the track can greatly affect where impacts occur when storms are moving parallel to the coastline. This highlighted the need to remove the black line that was in place in the cone forecast. Hurricane Frances was the opposite of Hurricane Charley in many respects. Frances was large, with the tropical storm force winds extending over 100 miles farther than the tropical storm force winds in Charley, and the entirety of Charley fitting within the area of the hurricane force winds of Frances. Frances also was very slow moving, with a forward speed of only around 7 miles per hour at landfall. An experimental graphical hurricane local statement product was put to the test for the first time with Frances. This, along with the wind speed probabilities that were used to create it, are now operational, with wind speed probabilities regularly used in the forecast process and the graphics now known as hurricane threat and impacts graphics. Finally, Frances taught the importance of providing emergency management partners with adapting decision support services. With it forecast to make landfall over a holiday weekend, the hurricane warning was issued early, and during the storm, close coordination on the timing of the eye was done so that an evacuation of a damaged shelter location could be safely completed. Hurricane Ivan exemplified what an all-hazard storm means. It brought destructive storm surge of up to 15 feet in the West Florida Panhandle, over 15 inches of flooding rain, peak winds around 105 miles per hour near Pensacola, 20 tornadoes in Florida with 117 total over 3 days, and major marine hazards with wave heights of 52.5 feet over the Gulf of Mexico, recorded by a buoy about 70 miles south of the landfall point. Hurricane Jeanne taught us that hurricanes can strike in the same place twice, and in this case, just 20 days after Frances. And in Polk County, 3 tracks passed over almost the exact same location within 6 weeks. Jeanne provided an opportunity to test the first experimental extreme wind warning just 6 weeks after the idea was conceived with Charley. Jeanne was a lesson in dealing with increased vulnerability and disaster fatigue. Hundreds of homes were already dealing with damage that hadn't been able to be repaired yet, along with damaged roads, eroded beaches, and large debris piles still in place. These areas weren't able to withstand the same level of threat. Resources and preparedness supplies had already been used from Charley and Frances and not as easily able to be replenished before Jeanne. This taught us how to adjust messaging for those feeling overwhelmed, keeping things simple, coordinated, direct, and empathetic. And it again forced adaptability during the event to lower decision thresholds to account for the communities not being as ready, responsive, and resilient with this storm. The lessons learned with each of these storms are ones we continue to teach and reinforce every season, with the hopes that as new storms move over the state, we can mitigate the impacts and recover faster.